Welcome to the Coffee House, where we discuss board games, miniatures, and painting them, not necessarily in that order. If any of those things appeal to you and you haven't already, please consider hitting that subscription down below, turning on notifications, and giving this video a like. Seriously helps me out. It helps the channel grow, especially with YouTube's new algorithm. It is really hard to reach anybody at this stage in this section of YouTube. Now, with that out of the way, let's jump on in. Alright, painters, here we are. We are at the final sprint of Season 1 of Death May Die. So I saved the investigators for last for a couple of reasons. The first being that I just find the investigators the least interesting things to paint in the box. Other than that, I plan on just dropping these videos in rapid succession. That way you can just breeze on through them. They're really easy to paint. There's nothing fancy here. A couple things I want to touch on though. First being, you're not going to be doing anything that you haven't seen. All right, we're going to be doing a little bit of OSL, and we're going to be doing a little bit of free-handing. Both of these steps on these models are totally optional. You don't have to do them. The minis are still going to look great whether you do them or not. I just think it elevates the minis to the next level and just makes them pop just that much more on the table. You don't have to do it, though. Totally cool. The other thing that I want to touch on is eyes. So in the majority or all of the monster painting videos, I have done the eyes, and they're easy to do and they look good. For whatever reason, monster eyes are always sculpted to be easier to paint versus human eyes on CMON's models in particular. So having said that, I don't paint the eyes on these models. You don't need to paint the eyes on these models. Well-painted eyes, you have to look for to see. Bad painted eyes will ruin an entire model. The risk-reward factor is not worth it for a board game under most circumstances, in my opinion. So unless you are super, super confident with your brush control, leave out the eyes. Nobody's going to notice, nobody's going to care, and it's really not worth making your model look cross-eyed and ridiculous, because 100% that will stick out versus a well-painted set of eyes. Now that I've gotten all that out of the way, let's go ahead and crank through these models, and I'll see you on the other side. All right, here we go. We have Rasputin 100% primed in gray. We're going to do our traditional flesh color of a blend of Peachy Flesh and Crusader. On Rasputin, I did a 1-to-1 ratio. We're going to cover his hands and his face in this color. I don't know about you guys, but Rasputin is an absolute must in every single game of Death May Die that we play. His power is just so freaking good, and we never play the game without him. Definitely top tier character. Go ahead and dab his mouth a little bit. Now for his coat, we're going to mix Satchel Brown with Sand Golem. It's roughly a 2-to-1 blend here, Satchel with the Sand Golem. I'm going to go ahead and cover his entire coat in this color. I find that the Satchel Brown is too dark on its own, Hardened Leather is too light, and the Sand Golem is too yellow. So I came up with this to kind of find a happy medium for a color that I liked. We're going to move on to Occultist Cloak for his pants. And now we're going to move on to Demonic Yellow, and we're going to start working on these flames. So you're going to coat the entire flame in this yellow acrylic. Be generous with it. Both flames. Now we're going to move on to some noble skin for his hair while we let that yellow on the flames dry. I don't know why, I just really liked this color for his hair and his beard. Now we're going to move on to some ancient stone, and we're just going to touch up his shirt inside the jacket here. My camera's not going to stay focused on that. So with some matte black, we're going to go ahead and hit his shoes. And we're going to pick out his eyebrows. Just you're going to gently kind of edge highlight the brows here. They are sculpted pretty well, so you can pretty much just take the edge of your brush and gently glide it along there, and it will pick up the paint. Now that yellow has dried, we're going to move on to lava orange. I'm going to go ahead and get a dry brush ready for that, and we're going to hit those flames pretty aggressively with that lava orange. And I say aggressively as I apply this paint as daintily as possible. Amazing. Once we're done with that, we're going to take a dry brush of pure red, and we're just going to hit the tips of the flames with that pure red. Just creates a little dimension to the heat. And now we're going to do a little OSL with that demonic yellow. So you're going to thin it really down to like a milky consistency, very watery, and we're just going to start picking out all the spots where that flame is going to dance off of this model. So you're going to want to go relatively heavy along the hands, especially the fingers, and from there we're just going to fan out, gently glazing this model with that yellow color. So you're going to want to get the sleeves on his jacket. You're going to want to get the palms of his hands. And as you can see, I'm just lightly glazing that paint on there. It is not opaque at all as I apply it. You do not want this to be opaque. Go ahead and take it up to his shoulders. And the further away from the source of the flame you get, the lighter you want the application to be. You're going to repeat the process on that other hand. And this step is totally optional. You don't have to do this. It's not necessary. If you're not comfortable with it, if you're afraid of ruining it, don't do it. But if you feel comfortable, if you've learned anything from me so far, it really sets this model on fire. And I do just the faintest, lightest amount on his head here. Just on the one side. And I pick out that collar just a little bit, just faintly. Voila. Now from here, we're going to dive into Sister Beth, 100% grade coverage. And as per usual, we're going to start out with our fleshy blend of peachy flesh and crusader skin. And we're going to hit her face, and we're going to hit her hands. You don't have to be careful around these glasses at all. Just get that paint coverage. Now here's the primary color of the model, Grim Black, and we're going to throw this paint all over this model. Don't worry about the rosary dangling there. You can go ahead and cover that with the black paint because we're going to pick it out later anyway. Try to stroke upwards as much as you can to prevent too much paint pooling on the bottom. And then get her shoes. We're going to go ahead and paint around the cross and around the rosary here using a smaller brush. Gonna get her sleeves. And we're gonna go ahead and get the hood of her habit. Call it a habit, right? That sounds like a word I've heard before. You'd never believe it, but I wrote a book once. Get the insides of that too. Now we're going to move on to some matte white, and we're going to pick out this portion of her, hit it with that white, make it nice and bright, make it pop. And this portion as well. Top here. Now I very carefully kind of lined the inside of this side of her habit with the white. And we're going to move on to the oak brown, and we're going to start picking out the cross and the rosary beads. And I did this step out of order, and I do not recommend you do it this way. You see that kind of sash that goes around her midsection? We're going to paint that a totally different color. So you should paint that first, and then pick out these rosary beads. And I realized my error about halfway into it. See? I was like, oh no, cloudburst blue. Just to add a little bit more color to this model. It's okay to make mistakes. It's all part of the painting process. I screw up all the time, even when I'm filming videos, and it's too late and I can't do anything about it. So now we go back to that oak brown and finish the job that we started in the proper order. We're going to pick out this little cross tube dangling from her neck. And the best part about this section is when you're doing the chain, if you mess up, you just fix it with a little bit of white, and it's great. So don't sweat it. I'm going to go ahead and hit the bottom of that sawed-off shotgun as well. I find it hilarious that a nun has a sawed-off shotgun. It's amazing. We're going to switch to the matte black. We're going to tip off that knife right there like so. And then we're going to tackle her glasses. Carefully as possible. Let the brush do the work. Let the paint do the work. Very, 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 very little pressure on your end. And you're just going to dance that tip around those glasses. You do not want a lot of paint on the tip of your brush right now. It's like a step up from a dry brush. Now we're going to switch to polished silver, and we're going to go ahead and hit that bladed weapon of hers. It's a thick knife. And we're going to go ahead and hit that shotgun as well. With enchanted steel. And my camera's going to go out of focus because of course it is. But you get what I'm doing. I'm painting that shotgun. Nuns with shotguns. Was that a movie? Feels like a 70s exploitation movie. Get that little trigger guard. And then we're going to tip the grip of that with the oak brown. And voila, black out her base, and if you followed along, your models are going to look something like this. Alright guys, that is going to do it for this week's episode. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much if you're painting along. If you are painting along and you're having fun and you've learned some things, even if you've just learned to enjoy painting, consider checking out my Patreon, which has a link down below for about the price of a cup of coffee every single month. You can seriously help me out, keep the lights on, keep these videos cranking out, and I genuinely appreciate every single one of you. Shout out to all of my top tier patrons. Dan, Steven, Tyler, JB, I love you guys so much. Without you, I wouldn't even be able to begin to do this, so thank you so much for all of your support. Genuinely appreciate it. Again, if you could leave a like, if you could leave a comment, any engagement, any sharing, any little bit that you can do without spending $1 helps me tremendously, and I greatly appreciate it. Again, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for painting along. Tell me how your painting process is going. If you are painting, how far you've gotten. If you're happy with these results, if you're happy with my results, I'd love to know. Every little bit of feedback helps me out. Keep painting, guys, and we'll catch you on the next one. See ya.